this morning, and in case you don't notice, two things. Number one, I have decided to embrace my hair, which is scary for me because I used to have hair that was really ridiculously long. It was like down here, and then my anorexia took that from me, and then ever since then, I don't know if it's because I never made the decision to cut it and it just happened, I've never been able to let go of that. So I'm only doing like a quick intro sort of thing now because I have a physio appointment for my hypermobility at 9:30, so it's only a quick video at the minute, but I'll do a bit more later. So basically, also I have a spot, but I'm not apologising for that because no one's perfect, so get over it. Anyway, let's go back to age 16, was I at? Yeah, I was at 16. So I wrote my mum a letter to tell her because I was absolutely terrified to sit down with her and say, look, the school nurse thinks I've got anorexia. So I wrote her a letter and I said, Mum, I need you to sit down. I don't want you to talk until I finish reading. She was like, alright, okay. So I told her and she said, but you eat. And this is where like a lot of misconceptions happen, if that's the right word. My mum was seeing me eat dinner, but she wasn't seeing me eat at school or in the morning or in, like, it just wasn't happening. And I was eating alone, so I was hiding food and I was becoming very secretive. So basically that happened. Then once I told Mum, we went to, Danielle, my sister, took me to my first CAMHS appointment, where they told me I was slightly above the BMI range to be diagnosed with anorexia. So that to my anorexia was like, see, you need to lose more weight. So I went to the CAMHS centre for mainly depression. It's a different centre. And they weighed me every week and the number kept dropping. And it didn't matter how much I weighed myself down because I would put coins in my hair in like a bun and like weigh myself down with stuff. So, including water. So the weight kept going down, but there came a point where I couldn't like convince them I was okay anymore. And then I ended up going back to the CAMHS with the eating disorder facility, and they were like, oh crap, this kid has anorexia. Whilst I was there, I was told a couple of things. Number one, I was told that I would never get better because I'd had it since I was 7. Then I was told that I'd never make it to my 18th birthday. I was told I wouldn't make it to Christmas. I was told that I was on the inpatient list, but they weren't going to waste money on a corpse. So, as you can see, they were really, really positive. Eventually I was put on bed rest, and if I wanted to go out, I had to use a wheelchair, which sucked, so I never went out until I got on a little bit more weight. And they gave me 40 sips to take instead of NG feeds, and that way I was still in control. And then I was on bed rest for like, I want to say 9 months, and then I started going into work with my mum so she could look after me, and yeah, that's it for now. Okay, so I am back from physiotherapy, so we'll sort of like resume the story, I guess. Excuse the state of the walls. As I said in the last video, we are in the process of redecorating and things. So basically, I was refeeding from home. We did something called the Maudsley method, where my mum would count all my calories and take control and basically do everything for me. It was really hard, but it was worth it. And then I stayed in remission. I was in quasi-recovery, which I didn't know was a thing until about 2 years ago, which would basically mean I was still restricting, but was better and convinced myself I was in remission. Then when my mum was diagnosed with cancer, I went back to, I was at Adults Eating Disorder Service for a year, but then I left because they weren't actually helping me. They were sort of just, they were sort of focusing on why I was how I was, as opposed to helping me fix the problem. So then I went back to adults when my mum was diagnosed with cancer, just because I needed that support afterwards. I was alright whilst mum was going through it, but afterwards I needed the support. So I went back to adults and they told me that I needed my anorexia because I was trying to cope with something. So then I went to my GP and for support because I was losing weight again. And he sent me to a psychiatrist, not eating disorder services, but to an actual psychiatrist who diagnosed me. The first psychiatrist I had was not very good. And she thought I had borderline personality disorder. Well, when I looked into it, it didn't make sense. It didn't fit with me at all. But I went to the meeting to see what it was about, and then I texted my friend and I was like, get me out of here, like ring me and tell me there's an emergency or something. So she got me out of it, thank God. And then that psychiatrist just left. Like, she didn't tell me she was leaving or anything. She sort of just disappeared. And then I'm trying to think what happened. Then I met my psychiatrist, and my psychiatrist is absolutely amazing. She diagnosed me with bipolar type 2, which makes complete sense and completely fitted with everything that was wrong with me, everything that I'd experienced, and just explained everything. It explained what I was trying to control, because so many times people say anorexia is about trying to control things. I was like, I don't have anything I'm trying to control. But then that made sense. I was trying to control my emotions. So I was diagnosed with bipolar, and she's been absolutely amazing ever since. And then that takes us to my 21st year, which was the best year of my life. I went to see Demi Lovato in concert. She held my hand. It was amazing. And then I went to New York, which was a dream. And then I ended up relapsing in January 2019. Yeah, January 2019. And that lasted until this time last year. And I got sick, like really sick. My bloods were coming back horrendous. My heart was having trouble trying to keep it going. And then they were talking about admission. Now, I don't know how I do this, but I managed to avoid admission again. And my GP was like, we're going to admit you if you don't sort it out. And so when we were starting to think about admission, and I was sort of entertaining the thought, because I thought I'm just going to be like this forever, COVID hit, and thank God it did, because it kept me out of hospital, because they were avoiding admitting people that were obviously at high risk, and I was. So the only bad thing that came with COVID, which actually was good, was that Josh was off work, and so he was monitoring me, and I couldn't get away with what I'd been getting away with, and so I had to sort of resign to the fact that I would have to recover. And then I wanted to be better for my sister's wedding in February 2020, so we went to Disneyland in the October, so I sort of recovered a bit for holiday in June/July. Then I lost loads more up until October, went to Disneyland, and I was really underweight there. Looking at photos, I'm like, oh my God. But so I was underweight there. Then I sort of plodded along up until December time. Then I started to sort things out because I wanted to be better for February, so I didn't look back at photos and think I look sick. Like, I didn't want my kids or my nieces and nephews or whatever to look at me and think, wow, that was when Auntie Coco had, or wow, that was when Mum had anorexia. Like, I just didn't want that. I didn't want my sisters to look back at the photos and know, or I just didn't want that to happen. So that was sort of an inkling, you're going to get better sort of thing, because I was considering the thought of getting better by saying that I didn't want to look back at it. So I was seeing my future, which was huge progress, and then I started to refeed. Okay, so I have got my Harry Potter mug out to make it slightly less scary, but I'm about to make a mug cake. I don't think I've had one of these I don't even know when I would have had it. It's a big fear for me because after dinner the only cake I would possibly have is a rice cake. So yeah, slightly terrified. It's not very appetizing looking, and I did find myself looking for a low calorie version, but still more calories than I would like, so logically it's okay. And it's got chocolate in, which I don't have chocolate until weekends, so it's not really that nice. Maybe because it's a low calorie one, I don't know, but it's not the greatest. Yeah. Okay, so I didn't finish the mug cake. It wasn't very nice. I don't know if it's because it was a lower calorie version or what, but either way, I didn't finish it. Still counts because I had it, but to sort of just make up for that, I've still had my hot chocolate, which I wasn't going to have because I was having a mug cake. I'm going to have 2 buttons because I don't usually have chocolate on the weekday, so that's another fear. Yeah, we're going with that.